I love it.
Okay, so real quick, I know most of you, and I started teaching gifted enrichment, so you need to stop by and see me, especially when you get to high school. I do a lot of things during what they call 4B up there. We do a little bit of robotics, we're doing a little bit of things. And one thing that I really want to focus on is highlighting kids for what they are and what they do. And all of you have a uniqueness, and it's pretty cool. We do reading, math, science, social studies. But you guys are so much more than that. And Brody plays hockey. Brody does hunting and trapping and other things on his family farm. And I just think sometimes we need to share those things with each other. We hear about hunters and gatherers a lot. You guys have heard that term, right? Over and over and over. And I think it's just kind of a dying art. And I think it's awesome the stuff that Brody's even told me about and taught me. My dad was a game warden growing up. So I kind of lived with a lot of this kind of stuff. And I think we're getting out of that. You guys like to go to Cabela's, Field and Stream, right? And then you see all that stuff there, but a lot of us just don't know what to do with it. Anybody hunting right now with archery? You are? That's awesome. Like, can you pull the bow back? Yeah? I have trouble with that. That's okay. So anyway, so I wanted Brody to kind of share that with us, and if you guys are interested, he'll tell you all about it. So Brody, take it away.
Fur bearers are animals that live in the woods and in farms and fields and stuff, live out in the wild. They can kill animals and are mainly predators. Fur bearers is an animal whose fur it has value and can bring in lots of money, or it can bring in very little. The furs are then turned into hats, rugs, clothing for money. Trapping is what I do mainly to get rid of fur bearers to get rid of predators. Trapping is a hobby in which trappers attempt to catch animals in a trap like this. There are 8 most commonly animals trapped in southwestern Pennsylvania. They are muskrat, mink, beaver, coyotes, bobcat, raccoons, and red and gray foxes. Coyotes are the biggest problem to us because we have cows, baby goats, fawns, which are baby deer, and they will kill all of those animals. So I have to do a large part in trying to keep the population down. We used to have a lot of foxes on our farm, but they actually got killed by the coyotes because the coyotes will actually kill the fox because the fox is a lot smaller than the coyote. Beavers are not very there are not very many beavers around here anymore. There used to be a lot, but they are not here anymore. They will dam up rivers and ponds because they don't like the sound of running water. That's the reason they will do that. Bobcats are coming back slowly. In the past 2 years, I have had 2 pictures of them and have saw 6 of them in person. Raccoons are animals that will get into trash and can actually get into houses sometimes, into attics and stuff. But mainly they will destroy crops, and that is why most people trap them. The reason I trap mink is because they will destroy creek banks and cause them to collapse. Muskrats can drain ponds. They will dig tunnels through the dam walls and will cause it to drain or collapse. There is lots of equipment needed for trapping, including the trap and some to set the trap. There are 4 main types of traps: footholds, conibears, and dog proofs. Here is a foothold, and it's pretty much what the name says, it just holds their foot there. Conibears are a kill trap, and I'm not a fan of those. If you catch something you don't want to catch, you cannot release them. But if you were to catch something in one of these traps, you can release them. You will then, another trap is a dog-proof trap. The reason it's called a dog-proof is because it is actually impossible to catch a canine because they cannot it has a pull lever right here. This lever right here, you have to grab onto it and pull. And raccoons, they have like pretty much human hands, and they grab onto the food, and they grab onto the lever and pull up, and it just holds in there. Other equipment you'll need is a sifter, so that you can sift the dirt over the top of the trap so you don't get big clumps in it. You'll need a trowel to dig your trap bed. You'll need pan covers so that dirt and stuff does not get under your pan. This is your pan right here. And you don't want stuff under that because it might keep it from firing all the way. So you'll miss your animal. You'll want a kneeling pad so you do not get scent everywhere around your trap. You'll want a hatchet in case there's trees or limbs that you need to cut down over top of your trap. And then you will need gloves to set the trap because you do not want your scent on the trap. You'll need a catch pole because if you catch an animal you do not want to dispatch, you can release it with a catch pole. You would put it around its neck and just open its foot out of the trap. These are optional, but they are not needed. You'll want a knife in case you need to skin an animal out in the field, pliers in case you need to bend something on a trap. Every now and then, one of these will get bent, and you'll need to bend it back. And then flashlight if you are checking the trap before dawn or after dusk. Wax dirt is what I put over top of traps in the winter, so that water will not get on top of the trap and freeze the trap up. The water will run off the trap and run into the ground, and your trap will not freeze because the wax makes the dirt waterproof. Most people will dye traps after they get them from the manufacturer. But before they do that, they have to take off an oily substance. So they will put it in the dishwasher or spray it with vinegar and leave it out in the yard or in the grass. After they do that, it gets a good layer of rust. They will put it in dye, which is why this trap looks like it, because I just recently dyed it. Usually it'd be a bright metal like this is right here. And they will actually see that if it is partially uncovered. Now, you can either buy store-bought trap dye, or what I like to use walnuts. Some people will use leaves off of maple trees and sumac trees. And the wax to put on the trap will help it fire better. But if you put too much wax on the trap, it'll actually cause the trap to not fire. These are my 5 favorite trap types. This is called the pipe dream set. You will do what you would do with any other trap. You will dig your trap bed, you will set your trap, put your trap in, and cover your trap back up. But you, instead of digging a hole or something to put your bait in, you will hammer a pipe into the ground and put your bait and other stuff to lure the animal in. You will put that in the pipe. A dirt hole set is just like any other set, and you want to make it look like something dug an animal or something up. You want it to make it look very obvious. The predator will then get its attention. It will get the predator's attention and will draw them in. This here is a trail set. It's very common after a rain or a heavy snow because you have to find traps. And most people will put a snare or a cable restraint there. And a cable restraint will just, it goes around their neck and just holds them there. And you do not put any bait here. You just have to get lucky and hope an animal or a predator will step on your trap. A scent post set can either use a stick or you can use a little wooden post. You would, after you set your trap and everything, you would put urine on the post. The reason you do that is if you use coyote urine, you will catch a coyote because they will try and come get their territory back. It's marked. And then if it's a fox, you'll either catch a fox or a coyote. And because the coyote will come try and kill the fox, or the fox will, another fox will smell it and come try to take over its territory. A flat set is the same thing as a dirt hole set, but you want to cover it back up and make it not look as suspicious. You'll catch almost anything in any of these sets, but you'll catch only coyotes, bobcats, and fox, and a scent post set because all the other animals are scared of those three. Here is the trap that I use mostly. I'll go ahead and send it here real quick.
Help you?
My life.
Okay.
So right now this trap is ready to go. As you can see, it is very level, so it wouldn't be sticking up out of the ground. It doesn't even break a pencil, so it will not break a bone. Cool. And there I stuck my hand in it. Didn't need a little more. So now on to skinning and handling, which is what you'll need to do after you catch an animal and dispatch it. So you will hang the coyote or animal for back feet somewhere. You will hang it from its back feet and you will cut right along, you will cut around its wrist or ankle right here, and you will go down, as you can see here. You can see where I cut down its leg and split its leg open pretty much. And then you will cut around what's called the vent, which is right in between, right pretty much up the center of the tail. You'll cut around the other ankle and do the same thing. And then you'll just pull the fur down off the body. And then once you get down to the head, you will, first you have to cut right at the wrist or the knees of the front legs. And then what you'll do is, because the animal will be inside out. But you'll cut on the inside of the ears. There's a thing on the inside that will help, that you can like put your finger in and you'll pull it down, and then you get to the eyes and you'll cut the eyes out of them. And then you'll go down and finish the face by cutting around the jawline and the rest of the face. Here was my second ever coyote that I caught. And you're probably wondering, why is it missing its tail? I may or may not have cut its tail off when I was skinning it. After you skin it, you will want to flesh it, which is it's when you take off all the meat and fat off the animal, off its leather, so that it will not rot. As you can see here, if you look, it's just the leather, and you can see the fur through the inside of it almost, and there's like no meat and fat. After this, you want to brush and comb off the fur to make sure there's no ticks or burrs in it. Finally, you want to wash it and dry it to make sure all the blood or whatever is out of it, blood. Then you'll put the animal on a stretcher so that when you put it on a stretcher, it will stretch it. So it'll actually bring money, because if you don't stretch it, it will look like this. And this one was not stretched because I got it tanned. And when you stretch it, you will put it on one of these, and then you will put borax on it because it'll be inside out. So you'll put borax on the inside after you flesh it and everything, and you will make sure it's hard. That's how you know when it's dry, when it's like raw solid. And then you'll flip it back to right side out, and you'll take it off the stretcher. These are my catches from last year. Here are 3 of them I caught last year. This one here, if you look closely, she has a tick right in front of her ear. This day we got a double. It was a very hot day, and we caught a lot. Well, it wasn't hot, but it was hot for that time of year. But we got a double. I caught this one, and he caught that one. This was my biggest one I caught this year. It was 46 pounds. And as you can see here, it's just holding the animal's foot there. It's not even bleeding in his foot or anything. He was not very happy with us.
I would imagine.
And this was my cousin's last catch of the year. He caught 2 of them, and I caught 5. So next up is I'll be talking about hunting, which I do this too, but I mainly just hunt deer. Most animals hunted in PA are rabbits, pheasants, bobcat, foxes, beavers, squirrels, coyote, deer, and raccoons. The white-tailed deer is the most common animal hunted in PA. A single deer can bring in 50 pounds of meat. Squirrels will actually get into houses sometimes and will eat insulation and can really mess up houses. Most of the time they will stay in the woods, and they actually eat acorns a lot. And if you ever see a pile of acorns or other seeds or nuts at the bottom of a tree, that a squirrel is most likely has a den in that tree. Rabbits are mainly hunted here with dogs. The dog breed is beagles. They have a really good smell, and they're usually hunted in tall, thick grasses. There's not as much equipment needed for hunting as there is trapping, but it's a lot more complex. This is for if you're hunting predators at night. You'll need a red or green light. This one here it's called a scan light, so you'll see their eyes. This one is if you were getting ready to shoot, you will see it. You'll find it again, and it'll be on your scope instead of looking through this and trying to find it in the scope. And then here's a call that you try to call the animal in with. This here is a weapon that I use for deer hunting. It is a 6.5 Creedmoor. This here is a crossbow, and this here is a compound bow. Here's a hunting line and a tree stand. If you're hunting deer, almost always you'll need to hunt out of one of these. There is 3 main methods of hunting, including archery hunting, which hunters will sit in a blind and will have to wait for the deer to come within 40 yards. Rifle hunting is pretty much the same as archery, but you will be using a rifle and have a lot further range of fire. Spot and stalk hunters will find an animal from up to 2 miles away sometimes and chase it through the mountains. Here are some ways to hunt certain animals. Like I said, coyotes are hunted at night with lights and calls and are called into 100 and 200 yards away, and the call is usually placed 100 yards away. Deer are usually hunted by all 3 methods I just talked about, but mostly they are hunted with archery and rifle. Like I said, rabbits are hunted by shotgun or are hunted by shotgun in tall grasses and are chased out by dogs. Squirrels are usually hunted in the woods, and you will either 1 go up in there and find them in a tree, or 2 you'll see them running across the ground on up into a tree, and you'll shoot them with a .22 or a shotgun. Here are my deer kills. This year is my biggest buck to date, and this was my first ever doe.
How old were you, Brody?
This or this?
No, the young one.
This one I was 8. This one was 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember. This one was my buck from last year. And this year was my first ever buck. I was 7, I think. So if you're going to start trapping, you would most likely probably sell your furs. And if you were going to sell them, you usually would sell them at the Napa auctions, but they actually closed down at the end of 2019. And now they are either sold to a local buyer or to the FHA, which is the Fur Harvesters of America. Fur prices in 2018 and 2019 were a lot higher than they were this year. Because of COVID, the prices were really down and only Canadian buyers could go to the sales. So here's what the prices looked like in 2019. And then this is right at the start of, this is the beginning of COVID. This was in April. As you can see here, coyotes actually sold for a really good price. An Eastern heavy coat sold for $108 on average. Now, in August, which is when my coyotes from this year went to sale, they actually did not sell because there was no buyers there. So they did not sell. So if you're going to start trapping and hunting, you will most likely start by getting stuff from Fur Harvesters Trading Post, Minnesota Trap Products, Duke Traps, and Fleming Traps. Questions?
I don't know if I have a question, I have comments though. I would be scared to death if I walked up on that coyote that was barking. So like, have you ever been afraid, Brody?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I would be terrified. Okay, I caught it, now what? And secondly, I guess I would always call you if I had turtles in my pond and I had muskrats in my pond that would kind of dig through, and they're nuisance a lot of times for landowners. You guys get that, right? They get into your wildlife or into your livestock and kill your animals so that they can eat. And this is a necessary thing. And I can completely see you working for the Game Commission or doing something with this later. I think it's awesome that you know how to do all this right now.
Any other questions?
You notice the population of coyotes went up or down?
Up a lot. So
Yeah.
Why do you think that might be?
because nobody's hunting and trapping them anymore, they're just letting them run free and control on them means done.
When I was a kid, there were people that would drive from Pittsburgh in droves to come down here to hunt, and you hardly ever see that anymore. So I think it's really important that we pass that on to our next generation of people, and you guys step up and help us control things like that. That's awesome. So how much would that one be worth right now? Do you know?
This one right now, like not as right
You
now,
completely want to pet it. You know that, right?
do you?
Yes. Duh. How much would it be worth?
I'm not right now, but I think it's like probably like $45 or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in Colorado, guys, whenever I went there last year, they sell these out there for rugs and coats and all kinds of things. And I know a lot around here, we don't see a lot of real fur in, shopping areas, but out there, it's a big thing. Awesome. Yeah, I will pet that coyote like that, but never in that trap. That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Soft. You guys didn't expect it to be that soft. Awesome. All right, Brody, tell them what's up next.
So now you will need to get on your computers
Okay.
and you will have an email from her
Yep, I just did it.
and you'll click the link and you'll have a quiz on it.
Brody developed an app through code.org. Isn't that awesome? I can show you guys how to do it if you want to. He developed an app and he worked on it. It's not the easiest thing to do, so congratulations, Brody. I don't know that I can even make this app, to be honest. I taught him how to do it and he did all the work, so I don't know that I can go in and make it. There should be one for me and there's a link. You guys see it? And it will take you right to code.org. And if you're already signed in with Clever for the day, you should be able to get it. Anybody there? There's a little link there, click it.
I forgot to show you guys what it looks like the pencil. I just showed you the pencil. I didn't show you actually setting it off. So. As you can see here, it
enjoying that way too much.
It didn't even break the pencil, and some people will say it will actually break the bones of animals, but it doesn't even make them bleed where it catches them. It barely left an indent in this pencil.
They make themselves bleed by trying to get out of it.
Well, actually, they don't. They don't bleed from that. Some traps they will, but this trap here, I make sure they don't. It has what's called a swivel. It has two of them. It's so that they can spin. They can
Oh,
spin.
that's great.
They can spin freely. No matter which way they go, it'll spin freely. Like as you can see, the chain's not spinning at all. It's this little thing right here. Like see that now the chain's spinning? Every now and then it will, but so. Well,
I can't believe you guys got on the question. I know you do. Does anybody want to go hunting in traffic after you watched it? No? Yes? I kind of wanted to watch Brody do it.
You guys hunt for it. Oh,
He does archery. Yeah? You're a Rosoka, right? You can hunt, don't you? Yeah? That's awesome. Did you get in? Find your email? You have your letter back? I think you can just go right here, honey. You're already stuck in. And then you want to look for
See, as you can see here,
so it should be at the top of your chain.
the only reason it left a mark on my hand, it just left an indent. You can see it. It's like very small. And that wasn't really
Kind of hoping for a larger one.
And this kind here, this trap I use, it's the jaws, the jaws. It's actually called
Yeah.
It's actually called a offset jaw, so it does not close all the way. And they will make some traps that close all the way, and those ones might break a bone. But I use this one because it is more humane on the animal. And this here is called the dog of the trap. And to make sure your trap's level once it's set, I didn't show this, but I might in a second. There's a little notch right here on the end, and so once you set it, it clicks. I might do it. And so now, as of right now, if I were to put my hand on this, I couldn't get caught. So if you listen,
That's actually sure.
hear it. And now the trap is ready to go. And now I'll set it off there. I love it. Now these here make it a lot easier to set the trap. I know some people who, the guy that helps the trap, he set the trap, he can put it on his knee and set it with just two hands like this. It's hard for me to even open it with just my hands. Usually what I would do is I would use my feet.
Are there any traps that aren't permitted to be used around here?
Yes. It's called a snare because it would kill the animal, and they are not allowed in case you catch a deer because it would kill the deer too. You were allowed to use cable restraints though because they have a little lock so it will not completely, it will choke the animal. And the trap, these, so once they're set, they are out. It's called jaw regulations. They can't be wider than 6.5 inches this way and 7.5 inches this way.
And there's more bears around the area. Do you like trap bears?
No,
The bummer.
Making me nervous.
Yeah.
He likes to hear the sound.
He does. You have to have a license to trap.
Yes, it is called a bird taking license. I can't remember the exact name of it. I think it's a fur bearer's license.
Cool. All right, well, let them take their quiz real quick. Anything else you guys want to ask
If
them?
you get a question wrong, it doesn't do anything. I didn't get that far to it. But if you get a question right, it doesn't make it right.
It does. You'll just keep clicking and it won't do anything if you got
So
it wrong.
trying to like
Yeah. All right. Great job, Brody.
Not very-
Seriously, that's awesome.